Welcome to Disrupting Japan, straight talk from Japan's most successful entrepreneurs. I'm Tim Romero, and thanks for joining me. Let's talk about sleep. Are you feeling tired? If you're like most workers in Japan, the US, or Europe, the answer is yes. And oddly, even if you're not feeling particularly tired, you probably won't admit to being well rested to your coworkers. We, and by we, I mean all of the developed world, we have this funny relationship with sleep. We all know, we all acknowledge how important sleep is. Science and personal experience have proven conclusively that our own health and performance depend on it. But for some reason, we all like to brag about how little sleep we're getting. Normally, I'd call this macho bullshit, but women seem to be every bit as bad about this as men are. We seem to consider getting a healthy amount of sleep to be some kind of luxury, or worse, as evidence of laziness. Now, there are a lot of reasons for this, and we're going to talk about them with Taka Kobayashi, the founder and CEO of Neurospace. Now, Neurospace is doing something important, but something very difficult. Taka is building a business model based on convincing companies that not only should they encourage their employees to get more sleep, but that they should pay Neurospace to help them do so. Taka's fighting against some deeply ingrained culture here, but he's making progress. And today, we'll talk about some of the unlikely partners and bedfellows he finds himself with, why so many other startups in this space have failed to achieve product-market fit, and most important, what Neurospace is doing different. But you know, Taka tells that story much better than I can, so let's get right to the interview. I'm sitting here with Taka Kobayashi of Neurospace, who's a startup specializing in sleep. So thanks for sitting down with me.
Thank you.
What Neurospace is doing is really fascinating, but I think you can explain it better than me. So why don't you tell us a bit about what Neurospace does?
Neurospace is a company focusing on technology which evaluating sleep duration and quality, and sleep skill improvement program for company. I found this company in 2013. The big motivation was my own serious sleep problem.
You said something really interesting. You mentioned sleep as a skill.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard sleep described as a skill. So what do you mean by that? How is it a skill?
In general, anyone can improve, like how to speak English and how to control bicycles and so on. These are also a skill. Sleep also can be improved. For example, people suffering from wake up, there are some skill to wake up very easily.
I've never quite thought about it this way. So is sleep really like a collection of different skills? Is there like for example, falling asleep quickly or getting deep sleep or waking up fully? Are these things that you can train yourself to do?
Yeah, of course, there are many kinds of skills for to sleep and having good quality sleep and easy to wake up and so on. Yeah.
Okay. You know, we don't really talk about sleep much in terms of our health. We talk a lot about diet. And if you go to a bookstore, you'll find lots and lots of books on exercise and lots of books on diet. But we don't really talk much about sleep. Why do you think that is?
Also, almost all people are focusing on the time that we are active. But sleep is a very important thing in terms of consolidate our memory and eliminate our needless memory.
So do you think it's just because we're not awake and not conscious, we don't think about it, whereas like diet and exercise, it's something we consciously do and get feedback. Is
maybe in the sleep time, all people doesn't have consciousness, so they cannot understand the importance.
It almost doesn't feel like something we actually do, right? It's something. It feels like almost something that sort of happens to us. Actually, though, when people do talk about sleep, and I think this is true both in Japan and in the U.S., there's almost kind of this macho culture where people kind of brag about how little sleep they're getting. Every day at the office, I hear someone saying, "Oh yeah, I only got 5 hours of sleep last night." "Oh yeah, this week has been..." So it's almost like we're trying to train ourselves not to sleep.
Yeah, I understand the situation well. In the company field, many manager and leader don't take care of employees' sleep because sleep seems like spend time, not active.
Yeah. It seems like almost like it's being lazy.
Lazy. Yeah.
So how do you get companies interested in helping their employees improve sleep when there's this culture of, no, we don't need sleep?
In the neurospace business, we promote importance of sleep in terms of productivity, concentration level. These conditions always depend on sleep conditions.
But I mean, it's definitely true. Having too little sleep, being sleep deprived, is a lot like being drunk in terms of reaction time and judgment.
Yeah.
So the scientific data is really clear, but is the data strong enough to counteract this business culture?
Yeah. In my opinion, this problem depends on culture, especially Japan and Korea have such kind of culture.
Yeah, it seems like there would be a real kind of honne and tatemai problem.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thinking about it, most of the books and the blogs that focus on sleep seem to be telling people how to train themselves to get less sleep.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things like, okay, you don't really need 8 hours. You can train your body for 6 or 4 hours. Is that possible, and is that even healthy?
No, the answer is impossible.
Okay.
It's impossible. The reason why these kind of books is popular is business. Almost all people want to make their sleep little. Simultaneously, they believe that that is good things. Yeah, this is a fundamental problem.
Right. So how do you overcome that?
We provide questionnaire for employee which detect 10 types of sleep problem. After that, we analyzing the answer and we provide the company sleep problem tendency.
So what are you asking? Are you asking employees how much sleep they get a night or how well they sleep?
Yeah, ideal sleep duration and real sleep duration, and how many times do you have the difficulty to wake up for a week?
Okay, so once you collect that data and once you have a profile of how well different employees are sleeping and how much, what do you do to improve the situation?
Okay, we're providing as a seminar. I teach the skill to overcome such kind of sleep problem, difficulty to wake up and go to sleep and wake up during sleep.
What kind of things do you teach? So, for example, if someone's having trouble falling asleep, how do you train them, or how do you teach them to train themselves to fall asleep faster?
For example, the people who suffer from difficulty to fall asleep, we give advices that having sunlight, especially in the morning, makes people sleepy in the nighttime.
So if someone gets exposed to sunlight early in the morning, by the time evening comes, they'll be ready for sleep.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. So I guess a lot of your techniques are just training the body to get into this kind of a rhythm?
Yeah. So people suffering from to fall asleep have a rhythm problem.
And what sort of results have you gotten?
It depends on company. Especially a regular worker wake up in the morning and go to bed at night, improve by utilizing this solution. But on the other hand, especially like restaurant chain.
So someone working at night and sleeping in the day.
Yeah. This kind of employee solving level is low.
Yeah, I imagine it must be very difficult for anyone to train their body to kind of sleep when it's light and wake up when it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of sleep trackers and
like this.
Right, like the iWatch and things you wear on your wrist or things you put on your pillow. Are those useful? Are those helpful?
Yeah, this kind of devices is useful just only for making attitudes to watch our behavior objectively. So, but problem is accuracy level.
Okay, so they're useful because they make us think about sleep and maybe take action, but the data's not very good.
Yeah, exactly. So this kind of device can detect sleep duration, but the difficulty to tell the sleep stage level, like a REM sleep or non-REM sleep, especially in the non-REM sleep, stage 1 to 3. This kind of accuracy is very difficult for this device. So the Neurospace developed a new device to detect such kind of data very accurately.
So how is this device different from the usual sleep trackers and fitness trackers?
Most important things is algorithm which evaluates sleep quality and quantities. And our devices use 3 types of data: heart rate, breathing rate, and body movement.
So what sort of sensors do you use? Is the device simply a wrist wearable, or?
Okay, our device is used under the mattress, so we don't have to put such kind of device on our body.
Really? And you can sense breathing and heart rate through the mattress?
Yeah, exactly. So this is like a core technology.
Wow. I could see why that would be so important, because I actually have tried to use a sleep tracker, and I had trouble sleeping with the tracker on my wrist.
Yeah.
But if it was just underneath the mattress, then nobody notices.
Yeah, user interface is perfect.
Huh. So is that something you're planning on selling to consumers, or is it more of a research tool?
In the first phase, we're planning to provide this device and the solution to employee and in the business field to overcome sleep problem. But for scaling is a B2B2C. The company in the middle, B, like KDDI. So KDDI and Neurospace planning to develop very special bed included sensor. Using this mattress, consumer can sense sleep condition automatically and unconsciously every day. In the collaboration, the solution is controlling electronics like air conditioner and light. For example, in the REM sleep, our brain is working, but our body doesn't move. So especially in the summertime, the heat condition between our body and the bed will become worse. So heat condition disrupt our good sleep quality.
I can see why KDDI, which is a telecom and data company, would be very interested in Neurospace. But it would seem like a better partner for you would be either a furniture and bedding manufacturer, or a sporting goods or sports clubs, or someone with that kind of consumer connection.
So I have to explain another bed maker. In this collaboration, the Neurospace and KDDI and one traditional bed maker in this depend on the real-time sleep data. Neurospace engine controls the electronics for good sleep.
What do you do in the situation where you have like husband and wife in the same bed?
A very good question. Yeah, it's a little difficult. So in the first phase, our target is single person. Yeah.
Okay, right. It's because you have lights coming on and off. All right. Let's see, you're also working with All Nippon Airways on a project to reduce the effect of jet lag.
Yeah. Neurospace have a sleep skill to overcome jet lag. ANA Holdings have hundreds of thousands of potential customers in need of solving jet lag. Basically, Neurospace is in charge of developing a smartphone application which provides consumer to overcome jet lag. Yeah.
I think that's a great problem to be solving because it's usually solved with drugs or alcohol.
Like a melatonin.
Right.
Yeah.
But you mentioned before that your techniques were mainly focused on helping people get into that rhythm, that daily cycle. Yeah. So are those the same techniques you're using to help people get over jet lag, or are you developing new methods?
Basic point and essence is the same. Our solution have 5 categories, like light conditioning and eating timing, sleeping timing, nap, and regular sleep, and exercise.
How have the results been so far?
Next phase in this test, ANA's member also participate in this trial experiment.
It's on schedule for the full launch in the spring.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, Neurospace is not a brand new startup. You started this back in 2013, right?
Yeah, 2013. Yeah, 13.
And before you mentioned that you had kind of a personal motivation.
Yeah. When I was young, I had suffered from sleep problem. Things like I was very sleepy during classes in the high school and the junior high school. The reason why my parents tell me just study hard without sufficient sleep duration. Yeah.
That's very common in Japan.
Yeah. And after I entered company, the company forced me not to have sufficient sleep time.
Right. Also very common in Japan.
Yeah. It's a very particular Japanese culture. Yeah. In this situation, I suffer from mental depression, the very negative thinking, and I decided to quit.
When you decided to leave the company, did you know you wanted to start a startup? Did you know you wanted to work with sleep, or did you just want to get out of that company?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I had worked totally 2 companies as an employed person, but I noticed that as an employed person, I cannot achieve my best performance. So I decided to start myself.
So at that point, was it just you wanted to create a company that had a more reasonable work-life balance, or you wanted to create a company to solve this problem with sleep?
In the first 3 years, very serious situation. I worked a part-time job to survive. My parents also support me sometimes.
So how long did you bootstrap the company before you got outside investment?
2 years.
2 years?
Yes. In 2015, first investor helped me.
So 2 years of bootstrapping and so far 3 years of financed startup.
Yeah.
You know, though, it's sleep is so important, but it seems to be so difficult to make a business model around it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's really easy to make a startup focusing on exercise or on food. I mean, really easy on food.
Yeah.
But sleep is something that I don't know, no one seems to have been able to build a solid business around it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are doing a lot of things to improve sleep. You're doing training programs, you're building better hardware sleep trackers and partnering with IoT initiatives. Do you feel like you've really found that product market fit yet? Or do you feel like you're still experimenting and still searching?
I believe that our business model is best to overcome, solve a sleep problem in the world. Yeah, as you said, almost all startup company and big company tried this market, but they failed. But our core technology is evaluating sleep quality and duration very accurately, solution how to solve sleep problem, and our main business category is B2B2C. In the B2B2C, the B in the middle hold many potential customer.
So do you think the better strategy and the more attractive customers are going to be technology companies like KDDI or special needs companies like ANA Airlines? Or do you think it's going to be more effective to target large companies who want to improve productivity?
Yes, I think that this target is very good. Our target have two types, employee and consumer. The B in the middle holds many consumer. The employee in the company aim to better productivity. They focus on sleep skill improvement.
It's an interesting approach. I mean, you're fighting against a lot of corporate culture around the world who's saying, now we don't need sleep, we just need to work harder. But I can imagine if you show them hard data, both from universities and actual results, you could get a lot of interest. Yeah. But what kind of companies and what sort of industries are most interested in improving their employees' sleep patterns?
Currently, our client which focus on this area is like a information technology company.
So like software companies or systems integrators?
Yeah, include system engineer.
Yeah. That makes sense because they're high-paying positions and lack of sleep can have a very direct effect on quality.
Yeah.
Interesting. How much sleep do you get every night?
Ideal time is 8 hours. Yeah. In the holiday, I have 8 hours.
What about like weeknights?
Between 6 to 7
okay.
hours. Yeah.
Is that enough?
No, enough.
Yeah, see,
in that situation, I always take a power nap.
Okay, but it's sort of like you're doing it too. It's the same cultural problem.
Okay.
So you recommend napping?
Yeah,
okay.
Of course.
Let's talk about Japan in general and startups here.
Okay.
So one of the things I noticed is that Neurospace has had a lot of support from NIDO and government agencies with grants.
Yeah.
Has that been useful? Because I know applying for government grants can be time-consuming and complicated. But is that something you would advise other startup founders to do?
Grant from government is very helpful. This year, our project with ANA is received the granted NIDO project. A few years ago, almost all startup companies focus on just only developing a smartphone application, fintech, and a game. But I think that such kind of smartphone application developer startup suffering from scaling. So currently, real tech field startup company increased recently. And this core technology and patent is very useful.
So most people applying for the grants are applying to get the money.
Yeah.
But do being part of these programs help you with sales or partnerships or credibility?
Yeah, and developing like IoT devices and software. Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, Taka, before we wrap up, I want to ask you what I call my magic wand question. And that is, if I gave you a magic wand and I told you you could change one thing about Japan, anything at all. The education system, the legal system, the way people think about risk, anything at all to make it better for startups and innovation in Japan. What would you change?
Okay. I think the most important thing for running a company well is human.
Okay.
Yeah, human resource.
Sure, the people.
The people. Yeah. Previously, you asked the startup company the situation. The failed startup company suffer from people. Some people quit. So I think that the people in the company is the pressure and the most important things.
So you would change the culture to make companies appreciate their staff more?
Yes, especially people who have correct ethic.
Well, I think all companies say that they want employees that are enthusiastic and that have vision and can make changes on their own. They say that, but most companies don't have those employees. Why do you think that is? What should companies be doing to build that?
I think that before hiring, we need to estimate the person correctly.
Oh.
Yeah, but after become an employee, we need to change them to our field.
So like the point to change, the one thing you would like to change, do you mean that the companies should care more about the people as like individual skills and individual talents,
Yeah.
rather than trying to just change the people to fit the company culture?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So characteristics is most important rather than skill.
That is interesting. I do think that, Japan, traditionally it's very top-down, where this is our mission, these are our values, and we need to change everybody to fit that mold. And I think startup culture everywhere, but Japan too, obviously, is more of what unique skills do these people have?
Many people who have certain skill, like system engineering, it's easily come if we provide much money. But individual characteristic is very difficult to change.
Sure. Yeah. I think recognizing that is the only way to build a real team.
Yeah.
It's not just a collection of skills, it's a collection of individuals.
Yeah.
Do you think that's changing? I think that's changing with startups for sure.
It's a very good question. In my opinion, the attitude in Japan is not changing.
No.
Even though technology is evolved, human doesn't.
True.
Yeah. Especially in Japan, it's very correct.
Yeah. So we have to, as small startups and as people trying to sell goods into the market, we have to adopt ourselves and our own plans to the teams that we can build.
Yeah, some startup company CEO his goal is fundraising. So fundraising success seems great. Yeah. But it's not fundamentally important things. The most important thing is human and culture.
I think so too. And I think that is changing at startups. At large companies, it doesn't seem to change.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, Taka, thanks so much for sitting down with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And we're back. So how deeply is this bias against sleep ingrained in our culture? Even Taka, a man who is building his company and his reputation around the need for enough sleep, even Taka, when I asked him if he got enough sleep, he hedged and said no. And I don't blame him one bit. In the business world, getting enough sleep is almost an act of defiance, and admitting it would be seen as admitting to laziness. But I don't think that's the big reason that sleep-related startups have such a hard time finding product-market fit. I think it gets back to what Taka mentioned about sleep being seen as a passive activity, as something that happens to us rather than something we do. What's more, it's something we do alone and in a way that cannot signal status to others. And that makes sleep very hard to monetize. There are fortunes being made in diet and exercise and even mindfulness, but sleep has, so far, been very resistant to commercialization. That doesn't mean it's not important. The vast majority of money spent on diet and exercise programs is completely wasted, but that's the world we live in. Problems that can't be monetized usually don't get solved. And I'm not saying that's good. It's not. But that's the reality we live in. So, will Neurospace break the mold and become a successful sleep startup that actually makes a difference? Maybe. I hope so. And they seem to be making some real progress. But it also seems like they're still struggling to find real product-market fit. What Taka calls the B2B2C model is often called channel sales or reseller strategies, and both can be very effective for scaling. But it's often very hard to get your first customers when you interact with your prospects via third parties. Still, though, Neurospace has made it farther than most sleep startups, and it seems that they are just getting started. Our chronic lack of sleep is a species-wide problem that really, really needs to get fixed. And Neurospace might be just the team to do it. If you'd like to talk more about sweet, sweet sleep, Taka and I would love to talk with you. So come by disruptingjapan.com/show134 and let us know what you think. And hey, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook and even check out our LinkedIn group. If you ask a question there, I guarantee you'll get a response. But most of all, thanks for listening. And thank you for letting people interested in Japanese startups know about the show. I'm Tim Romero, and thanks for listening to Disrupting Japan.